So the new Welcome to Derry episode, in episode 4, we got a lot of details, a lot more information on Pennywise and the Deadlights' backstory, Dick Halloran's vision of that backstory, and we learned just a lot in general in this episode. You know, the episodes in the past few weeks have been jam-packed with information and details, which I love. This show has been phenomenal recently. You know, it's been an absolutely spectacular show, and I can't wait to see, for the next coming weeks, to see what we get with the show. And I will be doing more videos on it on this channel. I think I'm gonna, branch out, do a variety of different topics on this channel, not just Marvel and stuff like that. I will, branch out and do different things. So if you guys want to see something specific, then please let me know. Welcome to Derry is a massive thing at the moment, and I love talking about it. I love, discussing things. So if you guys want to discuss about it, also comment below. But today's topic of the video is going to be the Hanlon family, which we did see, highlighted in this episode. For episode 4, we learned a lot about, the backstory of Pennywise, like I said, but we also, saw the kids a lot. I guess this show's version, the Losers Club. We saw a lot of Will Hanlon, especially in this, but also, Marge as well, the horrifying scene, probably the most terrifying, gruesome thing we're going to see all week this week, with that scene with Marge, which I might make videos on in the future this week, but for now it's just going to be focused on the Hanlon family and what they witness in this episode. But mainly the topic of the video is, are they actually cursed by Pennywise, or not cursed, but are they always destined to be followed? Mike Hanlon in the future, encounters Pennywise, and he plays a massive role in It Chapter 2 with Pennywise as well. Mike Hanlon is the one that stays in Derry. He's the one that stayed behind, and also obviously got the Losers Club back together when Pennywise returned after a 27-year cycle. So I think Mike Hanlon, and not just Mike Hanlon, but the Hanlon family in general, is massively important to the It franchise and the movie franchise, and he's massively important as well in the books as well. But I think mainly he's just more important in this universe, in the live action universe of It. I think he's an important character, and I think the Hanlon family are being highlighted in this show to prove that and to explain why Mike Hanlon plays a massive role in It Chapter 1, but also mainly in It Chapter 2, because he does have a huge role in that movie. But in this episode for Welcome to Derry, we saw Leroy and obviously his son Will, them spending time with each other, fishing out in the wild together, bonding, I guess, having some family time. And when Leroy goes up to the car, he obviously he leaves Will in the river with the whilst fishing, and obviously we expect something to happen, but Will has experienced stuff with Pennywise already, and experienced stuff with that, the Deadlights and stuff, and experienced some weird stuff with Lily and the group. They've seen stuff in the cemetery, and now they've also, he's been through this himself. They've all had their own individual encounters with Pennywise. With Ronnie, she had it with her mum, in the bedroom. Lily has had multiple occasions, I guess, but obviously the main one was the pickle jar one with her dad. And we haven't really had one yet but those are the main one that we've have highlighted in the show at the moment. We've had the main ones pointed out, and now Will's had his, and he had encountering stuff before that, but this was his main one. His fear was his dad being getting shot down in a plane, and being in a fire and never coming back, which Pennywise showed his true fear. But the thing I want to point out is about this with the Hanlon family being, highlighted, is that Leroy saw the balloon. He saw the red balloon the first time around the river with Will, and then when he went outside, when Will saw Pennywise behind the tree, and when Leroy went out to investigate, he obviously didn't see anything, but when he was coming back in above in the tree, there was some noises being made, and you could see the red balloon again. And you haven't really seen many adults witness Pennywise and, seen many stuff, because obviously Pennywise only hallucinates and makes himself known to the children that he's obviously preying on and trying to scare. But in this show, in this episode, we see that, they're clearly making it known to us that, Leroy is also seeing, this stuff of with Pennywise. And also in the last episode, in episode 3, Dick Halloran and Leroy had a conversation outside talking about how when Dick was talking about to Leroy that he wouldn't stepped to him because he felt like Leroy had something in him, that he has this thing that, you know, not what Dick Halloran has, I guess you call it shining, but he didn't really have that ability, but he could sense that something was off and something was wrong. And he could tell that Dick Halloran was in the room at that point. And they made that very known in that episode that, you know, Leroy isn't just a normal character in this season, and that they are highlighting the Hanlons massively. So that's why in this episode it's very intriguing to see that that Leroy is seeing all the things that the kids are seeing, that he's seeing all these hints from Pennywise, the balloon and stuff like that, and all the freaky stuff that's happening in Derry, and he's very interested into why it's happening and what it actually is, what they're chasing is. And, you know, there are other adults that have seen Pennywise as well, like General Shaw. When he was a kid, he witnessed Pennywise in another form, as a skeleton man, and now he's chasing after that because he wants it as a weapon for the military, to, you know, for the war. So it's very interesting to see. It's very interesting to see the Hanlons being highlighted. But, you know, when Bowers, you know, Henry Bowers' granddad, you know, the Chief Bowers at the police station, you know, when the kids showed the pictures to them, they couldn't see anything. You know, they couldn't see anything. They could see Pennywise's outline of the clown in the background, but they couldn't see anything weird in the photos. But obviously they highlighted that as well. They made that a main highlight at the start of the episode. And then as the episode goes on with Leroy, he also sees these balloons, and they're making that a massive highlight. So I feel like that's a reason it's highlighting to us as fans, to let us know that, yeah, you know, that the Hanlons do have something, are massively important, and that they do have a special place in this It universe, and that they do, you know, with Mike Hanlon in the future, that they are very important to Derry and, you know, the town itself, and just, you know, the universe overall, you know, like the franchise overall. The Hanlons are being highlighted in this show as an important family to go into the future with, which is very interesting to see, but also tells us that, I guess, Pennywise will always follow them, because down the generations, you know, he's been haunting Leroy now, and obviously haunting Will as well, and also haunting Mike in the future. So it's going down in the family generations, and I guess we might see other parents of the losers clubs in this series as it goes on. We'll have to wait and see, but we don't really know yet. We only know Mike Hanlon's family. That's about it at the moment, but I'm sure we'll learn if any of the others are parents to the losers club. But there was also a nice reference as well, a nice reference to fans that are interested and intrigued in the It universe, with Will when he gets dragged down by his, you know, Leroy as this burning corpse. You know, I guess that is like a foreshadowing moment of what actually happens to Will in the future, because we know when Mike explains in It Chapter 1 that his parents died in a fire in a burning house. Maybe has something to do with Pennywise, probably did. But yeah, that is, I guess, foreshadowing Will's future and the future of his death, which is something that is very interesting to know about in this show, which is very, you know, I love little moments like that. But yeah, I just want to make this quick video of first video of It Welcome to Derry. I think it's an absolutely amazing series so far. I can't wait to see the weeks ahead. But I want to make a video about this because I feel like it is something interesting. They are highlighting the Hanlon family massively, and I think it's going to be very important for us to see what happens in the future. So if you guys want to see any specific videos in the future or topics in the future, please let me know. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.